An electrifying topic will leave you on the edge of your seat. We're diving deep into the world of Red Bull, the iconic energy drink that has fueled extreme athletes and adrenaline junkies for years. In this episode, we'll uncover Red Bull's secret data, unveiling what makes this drink soar. Buckle up because we're about to take you on a thrilling ride. Red Bull Racing said goodbye to one of its only true secrets on the track during Saturday afternoon's Monaco Grand Prix qualifying. Certain trends emerge from imitation in Formula 1, just as they do in any performance-based activity. Should there be side pods or not? A large front wing or a more minimalistic approach? While teams are free to be innovative during the off-season building period without fear of being copied, there will undoubtedly be some emulation once cars are revealed. Even during the season, however, teams rarely see one aspect of the cars, the floor. The reason should be obvious, but unless something goes horribly wrong, the floor is completely hidden from other teams' view because it's underneath the car. However, in Monaco, two teams, one of which was Red Bull, were forced to reveal that secret. Both Lewis Hamilton's Mercedes and Sergio Perez's Red Bull were forced off the track. Lewis's occurred during practice, while Perez's occurred during qualifying. Because Monaco is a street race with extremely tight spaces between buildings, removing them is dangerous. The cars were craned 30 to 50 feet in the air to get them off the track, which is unusual for incidents like the ones we witnessed on Saturday. If a car is raised at all, it is usually quite mangled underneath due to a catastrophic incident. Because these were minor repairs, the floors remained intact and were displayed for all to see and document. There are no secrets here. Fortunately for Red Bull, there are many things that teams cannot replicate. Two of the best drivers on the grid, a unique partnership with Honda, and unlimited caffeine. In Monaco, qualifying is almost always more important than the race. Here's how the grid will begin, and possibly end on Sunday. Monaco may be one of the most iconic Grand Prix events on the Formula 1 calendar, but the racing could be better. Monaco's tight street circuit through the streets of the yacht-lined city needs to lend itself to overtaking opportunities. As a result, the qualifying order is crucial. Even fast cars have a limited number of opportunities to overtake. Those who start later in the grid than they would like are hoping for a lucky DNF for cars ahead of them to move up just as much as they are banking on their own driving. The Red Bull RB19 looks set to become one of the most dominant cars in F1 history. The drivers have dominated the first 5 races and are comfortably 0.7 to 1 second faster than the rest of the field. For comparison, that's an entire season's worth of growth. What is it about the RB19 that makes it so dominant? When it comes to high-speed corners, data analysis from the first 5 races shows that they are in a league of their own. They have a 5 to 10 km/h faster top speed than Ferrari, Mercedes and Aston Martin. The advantage is smaller in low-speed corners, about 0.1 tenths, but on the straights, the Red Bull is a bullet, completely unmatched with a speed advantage of about 5 to 8 km/h. This is what allows Sergio Perez or Max Verstappen to have a problem, start from the back of the grid, and still win the race. Furthermore, their DRS effectiveness, i.e. the acceleration observed due to drag reduction from the rear wing, is the most potent. I don't know why or how, but he came past me with serious speed, Lewis Hamilton said after Jeddah. Let's look at some trends we've discovered about the RB19 based on aero setup choices at various tracks and speculate on why these trends occur. We will analyze data from 4 of the 5 races. In Jeddah and Baku, Red Bull chose a single-element beam wing design, whereas in Australia and Miami, Red Bull chose the traditional dual-element beam wing design. With DRS turned off, Red Bull had a 5 to 8 km/h speed advantage over Ferrari and Mercedes on all 4 tracks. However, when using DRS on a slipstream, the speed delta, which is normally 15 to 20 km/h, increased to 20 to 30 km/h. This sparked a lot of online speculation about whether Red Bull had used any kind of aerodynamic trickery. This was addressed in our article, Triple DRS Reality or Rumor. However, new data trend has emerged that may point us to something exciting about which we should speculate. Australia and Miami have slower speeds than Baku and Jeddah, so downforce is important for lap time, and teams must experiment to find the best setup for their car. With a top speed advantage on both of these tracks, the RB19 chose a medium downforce setup with a dual element beam wing. As shown in the graph below, Red Bull had more acceleration throughout the entire speed range in Miami than its competitors with DRS on. In Australia, Red Bull chose a higher downforce setup than Mercedes, but was still able to clock higher speed traps. The trend is what is important to note here. The data trends for both races are similar, i.e. the lines between the DRS on and off are nearly parallel or converging. This is to be expected, as drag increases to the second order of magnitude with velocity, regardless of whether DRS is turned on or off. Jeddah and Baku are speed-sensitive tracks, meaning that top speeds significantly affect overall lap time. As a result, teams tend to set up their cars to achieve the highest top speed possible while keeping other constraints in mind. Red Bull used its single-element beam wing to maximize speed sensitivity on these tracks. In Jeddah, while Mercedes and Ferrari had a converging line, i.e. their acceleration delta with DRS on decreased with speed, Red Bull maintained that acceleration benefit throughout the entire speed range, as shown in the plot below. The DRS on line is almost slightly diverging, indicating that acceleration increases with speed, which is extremely perplexing and contradicts the usual relationship between speed and drags. The same thing can be seen in Baku, where the trend is clear and opposite to the rest of the teams on the grid. The acceleration of diverging DRS on line increases with speed. Speed sensitivity can be caused by various factors, including decreasing ride heights on straights. In this method, the ride height drops due to increased downforce, changing the effective area of the car and reducing drag with velocity. Mercedes famously used this in 2021. This would not be the case with the RB19, because we would be able to detect a decrease in drag on both configurations of the beam wing. Running lower ride heights in general compared to competitors is one of Red Bull's aero efficiency secrets. On the beam wing, a progressive trailing edge induced stall aero mechanism. As you may know, I am not a fan of this theory, but this data leads me to believe otherwise. Perhaps it is not a complete stall as previously proposed, but rather a progressive trailing edge stall mechanism limited to a certain amount of wingspan by controlling the twist distribution on the beam wing, which would further affect the flow from the diffuser, providing a gradual drag reduction with speed. This limited stall mechanism may also address the hysteresis issue that diffusers face, which is the concept's main limitation. It's incredible how short people's memories are, particularly Red Bull fans. The Mercedes was faster and more dominant in comparison to the current RB19. 7 straight constructor and driver titles are impressive. The FIA had to redesign the entire car to stop the silver arrows. However, let us refrain from referring to the RB19 as one of the most dominant cars in F1 history. Ferrari had the F2003 GA, the F2000 198, and the F2004, which won 2 drivers' championships for MSC. 5 titles in a row and the most successful team in F1, not to mention McLaren and Williams, who both have multiple titles. If ORBR wins all of the titles with their new car from 2022 to 2025, they should have earned everyone's admiration, and they should. However, I believe that other teams will find a way to counteract Red Bull's advantage. Aston Martin appears to have accepted the Austrian team's challenge, and I'm confident that other teams will be there or thereabouts by the end of this season, just as they were with Mercedes, though it took a year or so longer due to the complexity of their engine PU. No, those of you who think you can attack me again should know that I'm being fair and truthful. The RB19 is unquestionably faster, but not because of a more powerful engine. They are deserving of the top spot. However, to say it's one of the most dominant cars in F1 history is stretching the truth. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel and post your video recommendations in the comments area if you want us to do more videos like this.